Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sea Tranquility. We are the review crew. And today we have a bigger crew and kind of an A-list crew. Something special must be going on. So let's see what it is. But first off, let me introduce everybody. We have Jack Toledano. We got Rob Lasante. We got Karen LaPreziosa. We got
Yes.
Ryan Scal, George Lamie, and Nick Franco, and Martin Popoff himself. Look at all these important people. We're here to talk about something important. In fact, as you can see, I normally have the Motorhead font up there. So I'm going to change it just for today because today we're going to be talking Judas Priest, and you can barely see it, and Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden. They released two albums, an album each, all within 7 days of one another, which is pretty crazy. I looked in the past to see if this has ever happened before. You got to go all the way back to 1981. Killers came out February 2nd, and Point of Entry came out February 27th. So, like 3 weeks away from each other. But Maiden was like a new band at the time, so it wasn't that big of a deal. So this is kind of a bigger deal.
My
So
first
today we're
tour.
going to do Album Wars, the Battle of the Metal Titans, Bruce Dickinson against
That's
Judas
awesome.
Priest.
That's
We got
great.
Rob Halford there representing Judas Priest.
I
We're
love
all,
it.
we've done the Album Wars before, right? So everyone's going to talk a little bit about each album, give a quick review, what they like, what they don't like, and then at the end say which one they like. They might love them both. They might hate one and love one. They might hate them both and hate one less. But they're going to say which one they like best. And we're going to start with Jack down in the corner, and we're going to go around. So Jack, give us your thoughts, give us your vote.
Okay, thank you, Jamie. Thank you for having me. This is a pleasure to be here. Uh I have a channel called All or Not According to Jack, and I did give ratings for both of these albums, but just to give you the very quick version of things. Bruce Dickinson Mandrake Project. That one I didn't buy. I did buy Invincible Shield, but once I get to it, I'll show everybody. Bruce Dickinson, uh, and the way I rate these albums, I'll go through song by song and I'll give every song a rating from, say, 1 star to 5 stars. And then I'll take an average of that at the end. And that's how I give you my rankings. Bruce Dickinson, I gave it a 4.1, rounded up to 4.1 out of 5. I like the first part of the album. The last three songs, "Face in the Mirror," "Shadows of the Gods," and "Sonata," I thought it kind of petered out at the end. It slowed down a little at the end. Um, you got to mix these songs a little better. "Face in the Mirror," I gave it a 3.75. I like it, but you can't have three slower songs finish an album. So that's otherwise my top songs: "Rain on the Graves," 4.5, "Many Doors to Hell," 4.25, "Resurrection Men," 4.25, etc., etc. Uh, the first song, "Afterglow of Ragnarok," I think it's nice and dark and heavy, and the keyboards. It sounds to me a little bit like Chemical Wedding, an album that I really like. Similar production and darkness. Of course, I basically slammed Ace Frehley about a week ago because I thought his vocals were not good. I don't feel that way about Bruce. I think Bruce sounds fantastic. Okay, so moving along to Judas Priest. So this past Saturday, of all things, my family are not into metal. So the fact that my father joined me for this was like a real thrill for me. That he went with me to this place called Atlantic Sounds in Daytona Beach, right near the River Walk. And I bought the album, even though I don't really play CDs anymore. I thought I would help the store and help the priest. And they also gave me this poster. Poster number one. Then they also gave me this poster. And I got a t-shirt, which if you watch my video, you'll see the t-shirt that they gave me. So let's talk Judas Priest. So right off the bat, I'll go in reverse order. So there are now 19 albums. I did a ranking the studio albums of Priest at the time when there were 18. I would probably slot this in between 8 and 9. So 8 being Screaming for Vengeance, 9 being Hellbent for Leather. That's kind of neatly where this album falls. So my favorite songs, I love Serpent and the King. I love Invincible Shield, the title track, and then I also love As God Is My Witness. So those are my very strong highlights. The album itself, the actual album with 11 songs and not the 3 extras, I rated it 4.2. So that's where we stand on Priest. If you add the 3 now what they call the target songs, Fight of Your Life, Vicious Circle, and the larger, that brings it down to about 4.1 for me. So they are very neck and neck, Dickinson and Priest, but I give the edge to Invincible Shield, even though, you know what, it's a very good album, but I definitely don't think it's one of their best. So that's where I stand on it.
Your vote is for Judas Priest.
Yes.
I tell you what, a lot of people, they rate albums 4.5. They might go 7.5, 25. You're going 4.1. Little.
Yeah. Well, that's because I'm a very analytical thinker based
I
on
see
the
that.
job that I have. I'm in operations, computer operations. So I did all these nice little averages in Excel. And Jamie, I've seen some of your charts, so we have to talk off camera sometimes because I like what you do too. So
Well, I'm gonna wait for one of those reviews where you go, I'm gonna give it a 4.01. All right,
I
that's a hit.
rounded it up to
Precision.
only one decimal place. So
That's
I
a
You
hit
guys
couldn't
for
put
must
in
have
Rob there.
words.
Rob got a pow
you
right
guys must have
to
had
the
fun in
chin.
high school, I tell you.
Or they paid attention in high
That
school.
doesn't
I
sound
did.
like fun to me.
Unlike me. I was out in the yard listening to Judas Priest.
Eh.
All right, so we don't want pals on your side. Whoever gets the most pals on their side is the loser. That's one pal. Taryn.
This was a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be. Let's start with Invincible Shield. I love Giants in the Sky. That's my favorite. As God Is My Witness, Crown of Horns, Trial by Fire reminds me a lot of Old Priest. Fight for Your Life sounds really, Halford sounds great on that. His range is awesome. The choruses are catchy. The production is a little too shiny clean for me. It's very noodly. The guitars are really noodly and the drums are good, but it's just not my thing. But Halford is amazing, and there's some really great riffs in here. So, I mean, Halford is on point and he sounds great. And to me, he saves the record. I mean, like I said, it's a little too noodly for me, and the drums are just not my thing. And I was pleasantly surprised with the Mandrake project. I didn't think I was going to like it at all. I love the tone on the guitar. The bass is good and dirty. The drums is just the pace I like. A lot of doomy vibes on this. I love the opening song, Afterglow of Ragnarok. Resurrection Man is super doomy. I love it. Shadow of the Gods is great. I liked Rain on the Graves until, and this is my big problem, and this is the big, huge problem, Bruce. He sings over everything, and you can't get away from that. I mean, in general, the songwriting is better. I like the production better. I like the way it sounds better. But sometimes I just can't handle Bruce, and I got to shut it off for a minute, regroup, and then go back. That being said, I just think if it wasn't for Halford, I like the new Judas Priest. Don't get me wrong, but it's too spit shiny clean. The production's too slick. The drums I don't like. I don't like that noodly kind of guitar. Halford saves the record for me. So it's like, if you could take Halford and put him over the Mandrake project, maybe that would be the best thing. But I'm gonna have to give this edge to the Mandrake project just because I think the songwriting's better and it's not so spit shiny clean. Like I could see my reflection in the production. It's just too clean. So that's what I say.
That's Andy Sneap for you.
And I happen to love Halford. He's my favorite singer ever. So it kind of pains me because I'm really not the big Bruce fan. But yeah, the songwriting's better. I'm going to go with that. Mandrake.
All right. Bruce got a hit in. Nice. All right.
Reluctantly.
A little bit of a hit. It wasn't like a big uppercut.
Tap. A love tap. How's that?
George, what do you think?
Going alphabetically, I'll start with the Bruce. Afterglow of Ragnarok, the first video single. It's a great song. It's one of the best songs on here. I would expect that from all the comments I've seen and the reviews I've seen, it's going to be the most popular song with everybody going forward. Many Doors to Hell I like. It sounds like a early 80s Scorpions riff to me, but it's still cool. Resurrection Man is my favorite tune. I like that spaghetti western kind of riff with the
right on.
Oh yeah, I did too. Yes,
that part's cool. And then they kick into this part that sounds like it could be off Master of Reality. The production and the riff, his doomy riff, killer. That part's one of my favorite parts on the album. I would say I would echo what Jack said. You can't put three ballads in a row at the end. The middle one I like, Facing the Shadow of the Gods, but Facing the Mirror I do not like at all. And Sonata is too long and it's a little bit uneventful. This album is front loaded. I saw Pete said that on his review, and I would agree.
Yeah.
The first half is really good, and then it's kind of meandering down the stretch, except for I would say Mistress of Mercy. I do like that riff, although it does remind me of the lead track from Accident of Birth, Freak. Kind of sounds like that riff, a little too familiar. But it's a good tune. So I would give this maybe like a 3.75. The Priest, I'm not like everybody else. I was not blown away by Firepower at all. I thought it was kind of a typical Priest album, like three bangers and then a bunch of tunes that are, pretty good. They start off with three bangers again. Panic Attack is great, although there's a lot of choruses on this album where he's just saying the name of the song. They're not very developed to repeat the title over and over. But it's a really good tune. The Serpent and the King is doing the painkiller thing. You would think unimaginable at his age, but from what I'm hearing, he did a lot of takes. And that might be the difference between these two albums. Bruce sounds like he hasn't adapted to his new reality with his voice, and Rob kind of has. You got to do more takes. You got to go for less difficult things. I don't know. Invincible Shield, another really good song. Then the next three is kind of if there's a bump on here for me, it's those three. Devil in the Skies, a little bit bland. Gates of Hell is okay. Crown of Horns is the one song that I will be skipping on this. That song just does not appeal to me at all.
Me too.
Hey, George, I have a question for you. So right before we started, I was looking at some of the comments for when I reviewed Priest, and I had commented that Crown of Horns to me sound in the very beginning sounds almost like an Eddie Van Halen riff. It's what I said. And some knucklehead said to me, "Oh, you obviously don't know Van Halen." Did anybody get that in the beginning?
I'll have to
of Crown of
re-listen
Horns?
to it.
Yeah.
I just got all those solos. It's just too much for me. It's just constant. It doesn't stop. That's what I don't like about it. I mean, it's just that's all right. I get the
Darren's
point.
not a shredder kind of guy.
No, I'm not. I don't like it.
No.
I'm
How
not a
can you
big
be
shredder
creative
kind of
doing
guy.
that? Yeah.
I was wondering if it was just me, but yeah.
I like it the rest of the way. As God's My Witness is a burner. Trial by Fire was another video song. That's a little bit different for them. It's in 6. It's got like a pendulum feel. That's not something they do a lot. Escape from Reality's good. Giants in the Sky, like Karen said.
I love that one.
The bonus tracks, I like them. Fight of Your Life sounds like it could have been on Hellbent for Leather to me. There's something about it. I'm not quite sure. And The Lodger, I saw somebody ripping it in the comments on Pete's post of his review. I don't know. It's different for Priest. It don't sound like Priest, but I like it. I believe Bob Halligan wrote it, who wrote Some Heads Are Gonna Roll. But I dig it. I like the bonus tracks. Do I want to pay $6 for 3 tunes? I don't know about that, but they're not like, a lot of times the bonus track is kind of a disaster. And these are not that. These are good tunes. So for me, I'm thinking 4 stars. I would put it like in the 6 to 8 range in their discography. So my winner is Priest.
He gets another hit in. All right. I used ink on my own ink for these, so you better fucking appreciate it.
We do appreciate
I didn't go to work and use the work printer on this.
It's like an old Batman cereal now.
Those are like $1 a piece.
Laszlo ink.
That is awesome.
Martin, what do you think? I'm interested to see because I know you like them both a lot.
Yeah, so I reviewed both of them for Contrarians, and if you get the latest Goldmine, I haven't seen it yet. I actually don't get print copies of this, but I mean, the latest print issue of Goldmine, I don't know if it's out yet, but I interviewed Ian and Rob and Richie for the Priest, and then Roy and Bruce for the Maiden, and they're both in there. So the big long stories of both of those are in there, and it's funny, but I think I've been swayed to my final answer by how excited and interesting the stories were from Bruce on the Bruce album. But let's start with the Priest. I mean, I have called this, and I got a lot of heck for this, calling it my favorite Priest album since Hellbent for Leather. I will temper that a little bit and say it's probably my favorite since British Steel, but I will fight back on the whole
That's
idea
one album, Martin.
that there's lots of great songs that, Screaming isn't all great. Defenders ain't all great, and the production's unlistenable on it, right? But they're shorter than this, so you get the whole debate on how can you even compare Judas Priest Goes to the Gym music to the old stuff, right? And like Karen says, I totally agree. It's like, how do we discuss? It's so kind of frustrating, this weird production world we live in, right?
Yeah, it's too
with
much.
these things. Yeah, it's strange. And Scott and the drumming, still a lot of double bass, but he's loosened up a little. There's more of the hi-hats open and a little more. So yeah, I loved I thought the first single was really cool, great chord changes. Like Richie says, I think the coolest thing about this album is that you get a lot of twists and turns. You get a lot of interesting bridges and pre-choruses and different music to solo over. So there's a lot of cool things happening in the songs. I really love Trial by Fire. So I think that was the second advanced song. I love The Lodger. I think The Lodger is really cool. That reminds me of like Guns N' Roses, November Rain, or Queen, or something like that, or Alice Cooper. So that's a really cool one as well. And I like Fight for Your Life, which is one of the bonus tracks as well. And Serpent and the King. So a lot of it, I like it a lot more than Firepower, even though I loved Firepower at the time as well. Moving over to the Bruce, one of the things I asked him, and he sort of said this, and we used it in the headline, this thing, metal for grown-ups idea, right? Something about this record, it just feels like I can listen to it not as part of the heavy metal world. I can listen to it as part of the music world. It just feels like a rock record kind of thing, or something that you could stack up to anything. And it's like Priest kind of has to compete in that metal world, if that makes any sense. And I found it really surprising and almost refreshing that the whole back of it is pretty mellow. It was just pretty interesting to have happen. I love the production. I love that they pull out that, as Karen mentioned, the stun bass kind of on it as well. So yeah, the production sounds like, bear in mind, this was recorded mostly back in 2012. You heard that right. I said that to him. Did you mean 2022? No, Roy says, I mean 2012. It was all done in 2012, right? Which is really bizarre. But I just feel like, and I still think this is the best Bruce album. I got a lot of pushback on that. People say it has to be Chemical Wedding, but yeah, love Resurrection Man to death. Love Fingers in the Wounds. The first single was great, super heavy. And yeah, I'm on board with the mellow stuff as well. It's kind of gothic. I feel like there's a little bit of Vandergraaf Generator in this, you know, a little bit of a proggy vibe, a little bit of a 70s vibe. I think it's his most general sounding album, and I think it is like this really interesting grown-up sort of album. And then in my Facebook, I said that somewhere, and someone said, yeah, you know, there's a comic book that goes with this, right? Not very grown-up. They go, yeah, touche, you're right.
Grown-ups buy comic books now. Kids don't.
Yeah. Anyways,
Me,
I love both of them. I'm gonna go with the Bruce. My heart tells me it's the Bruce. It's the one I think that has more of a lasting kind of. But yeah, I think they're both great.
I like the percussion on the Bruce too.
Mm-hmm.
That percussion was unexpected, and his choruses are so catchy, which is what he does. You know what I mean? So that was also a push.
So, Martin, some of the vocals were recorded in 2012 as well.
Yes, I can't remember the exact story of what little bits. It was a little bit vague, but basically the whole thing was done more or less and then shelved, you know, because of maiden plans and whatnot. Yeah.
All right, this is closer than I thought it would be. Very cool. Nicholas.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to do this. Wow, this is a wild one for me because, as anybody knows, if you just look over my left shoulder, it's very clear that, you know, Iron Maiden has always been my favorite band on earth. And I respect the hell out of Judas Priest. I love a lot of their songs, but I'm not like a huge typical Judas Priest fan. So for me to be this excited about the Judas Priest album is unusual. I thought like Redeemer of Souls didn't really stick with me. Firepower was much better, I thought. And excuse me, and I wasn't really expecting much when this started to drop. And when a Panic Attack was released, I listened to it. I was like, oh my God. I was like, holy shit. And I was like, oh, that's wow. I fucking like this a lot. And the subsequent songs that they released, when they released Serpent and the King and Trial by Fire, I was like, what the hell's happening? So I too, I write for a webzine my friend runs called Cryptic Rock, and I requested the promo, and I sat on the album for a while. I was listening to it a lot before it came out. I was like, for me, in my world, in my head, this is the most I've liked a Judas Priest album since Painkiller. And when Painkiller came out, I was like right in that teenage years. I was discovering all of this shit, and you know, I thought that was incredible. So what do I like about Invincible Shield? About Invincible Shield. I agree with everybody. I think we're all pretty much in agreement so far about the production. The drumming is way too snappy and clean, and that's what puts me off about a lot of like legacy bands that are still keeping their careers going. Not all bands do this, but you know, I've had this similar problem with like Testament and stuff like that. It's just too modern sounding. But there's a lot of things on here that the persistent. I like the persistent soloing on this album. It's fucking exciting. And I'll tell you right now, the song Invincible Shield, fuck, like that's one of the most exciting Judas Priest songs I've heard since, like I said, since Painkiller. I'm like, this is the post 2000s Painkiller song.
Yeah.
When they do all the soloing in the middle and then the song comes back in and it's just a guitar and Rob says that line and then it all comes crashing back in. I shit you not, I'll start a circle pit in this mother, like if I see them. Like it's because, you know, everybody knows I love fast, heavy, speedy shit, but so I think what its major strengths are the choruses, the solos, the pure heavy metalness of it. It just works. I love the chorus, the way they do Sons of Thunder with some of the. You know what? Actually, you know what? That Sons of Thunder reminds me of modern day Accept, which I really like the last few Accept albums. And I feel like Priest is like taking a page out of that book, you know, like almost to Halloween to an extent does the same kind of thing where it's just like it's very catchy. It's fucking great. So moving over to Bruce Dickinson, and as you can see, I have the physical copy. I got like the special edition, the graphic novel, not comic book. You know, which is cool. You know, he put so much into this, which is awesome. So the music, I also had this promo had on for a while, and yeah, I gave them pretty much the same rating. I don't know. I probably should have like thought about it more, but you know, you get these promos sometimes. You know, you're in a hurry, and I think as these albums, as we digest them, I don't know in a year or two what I'll listen to more. I don't know if Invincible Shield is like the sports car and Mandrake Project is like the luxury one that you want, you're going to drive across country. I don't know. But I will say that I want to echo what some of you have said. It is a front-loaded album. However, yeah, I mean, I love Shadow of the Gods. I was similarly nonplussed by the final song, Sonata. I think that you're waiting for that song to go somewhere. It's broody and moody, but it just, you're waiting for a payoff. I remember listening to it the first time and I was like, this is going to go somewhere. And it didn't. It didn't go anywhere. But um what did you George, you said there was one you really didn't like. Was it Face in the Mirror?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. It's like kind of wonky, but nobody's talked about yet that he did Eternity Has Failed. And Martin, I was going to ask you if that was talked about. So this was recorded. So in other words, was Eternity Has Failed written well before Book of Souls, or?
Yeah, basically Steve heard it and snapped it up and said, "No, we're taking that for Maiden." So because it was all done, yeah, it was. And so
Wow.
as Roy said, it was a bit of a reverse bring your daughter to the slaughter situation.
Right. Which it's funny because when I didn't know any of that, so when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's interesting. And with the production differences between Kevin Shirley and Roy Z, I'm thinking, wow, is he firing a little salvo over at Kevin Shirley? Because I feel like Maiden Productions have, we're not going to get our boy anymore.
Not getting Martin
Obviously.
Birch back.
Thank you. Yeah, Birch. Yeah, so I get that, but as a few of you have said already, the production on the Mandrake Project is just beautiful. Like that bottom end and the guitars are just, it's so much more balls around Bruce's voice. So in that sense, it works a lot. One of you
that's
said
the one thing just to add.
Yeah.
Roy says this is the first time he played guitars and bass on.
Right. Okay, yeah, they had that guy Castellata or something. They had another guy. Yes. Yeah, it's so for me, like within its own discography, I would say it it's not going to take the spot of Chemical Wedding and Accident of Birth. I love so much. It's probably better than Tyranny of Souls. Yeah, I'll say it's better than Tyranny of Souls, and it's probably going to slot in third in Bruce's category. But what else could I what was I going to say about this? Oh yeah, so the production and the way the guitar solos sound in Eternity Has Failed. Yeah, I had to go back and listen to the Maiden one and this one, and I think they both have strengths. I don't want to disparage Maiden. They're still Maiden for me, but it was interesting to see them do this. And one would wonder what would it sound like if Roy Z redid a lot of the modern Maiden stuff. That'll never happen, obviously. Yeah, so I guess now it comes down to I got to give you my pick. And
where does the pal go?
Look, dude, this is tough for me because I
must choose.
I know I am so much more of an Iron Maiden fan than a Priest fan, but I gotta be honest.
Painkiller is going to be painful.
I gotta be honest.
Get the words out.
I'm giving the edge to Invincible Shield.
See, I was the opposite. I'm a huge Priest fan and not so much of a modern Maiden fan. And I found myself like, well, it is what it is. And I like Bruce better.
I mean, it's like comparing
I'm not
children.
a fan of his voice.
This is like comparing children. You love them both.
Sophie's choice, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I gotta be. I mean, I can't lie because I'm more of a Maiden fan. You know what I mean? Like, I'll still always be more of a Bruce and Maiden fan. But you hold these two projects up, and that Invincible Shield is. It's like Martin said. It's like Judas Priest is well within that heavy metal realm. So I was working out earlier, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go to that for that. But when I'm driving alone at night, I'm probably gonna listen to Bruce. Who knows? They have different moods. Yeah. But yeah, so I have to betray my Iron Maiden family.
And who knows how we'll feel about this like 2 years from now?
That's true.
It might be different.
Yeah. Rob's got a big smile right now.
But Bruce is running out of hit points, and we are going to Rob. So
get it out, Rob. Say it.
All right. Well, listen, you guys all know me. I've been a fan of both these. Well, I'm a Bruce fanboy. First one. I've told this many times on the show. I've always liked Bruce better than Paul Di'Anno. I saw Paul Di'Anno on tour in '81. It was my first tour with Priest. and Iron Maiden, and when Bruce came on board and did Number of the Beast, I was sold. And that's why I have both of these here. I am till I die. Both of them are my bands. So this for me was very tough. But that being said, what Nick just said, you know, listen, I listened to Priest. I started listening to Priest in 77. I didn't listen to Iron Maiden until 79 and 80. So I was already an established Priest fan, diehard already by 80. But that being said, Bruce's album for me, it works and it doesn't work. Okay. The first three songs on this album, I really like a lot. You guys all said it. I'm not going to repeat what everybody said. I like what Karen said about Resurrection Man. I too like that song. Not as much, but I like it. I like that riff in the middle. You know, it's very Sabbathy sounding. Fingers in a Wound, very good song. I love that. But then we get to Eternity Has Failed. And the problem for me with that song is that I've heard it so many times already. It's nothing new. And I kind of feel that Bruce could have left it off the album. I understand why he did it and all that, because it was his song, but I just felt like it's a repeat. So I'm not giving that high marks. Mistress is a great song. Face in the Mirror, no, I'm with you guys. Did not like that song. Now, the song that I like the most, I surprise you all, is Shadow of the Gods. That song for me, it's epic. It kind of reminds me of something from the early albums, like from Chemical Wedding or whatever, how it starts off real slow and everything. Yeah. And it just builds up, and then that riff and that guitar, Karen, and that part when the guitar comes in, that's dirty guitar. It's not like
it is, and I have it on my list as one of my
I was thinking about that when you said how it sounds a little bit dirtier, this album.
Yeah.
But the last song, I mean, like Nick said, I was waiting for something to happen, and I think I fell asleep. I mean, honestly, it was really disappointing. I was disappointed in that. So for me, this album, I probably give it like maybe an 8 out of 10, maybe on a good day. More like a 7.5 for me.
Not a 7.1?
No.
Precise.
I'm an accounting. I don't do that way. But so now let's go to the Priest. For me, the first three songs in this album kick the shit out of you. Okay. It reminds me, and Martin would know what I'm talking about. Think about Screaming for Vengeance. You had the Hellion, right? And then you had the Electric Eye, and then you had Riding on the Wind. Those three songs crushed, right? That's what this album reminds me of, that of the 80s. You know, I'm not saying this album is as good as the 80s or anything. I don't think I'm at that point yet. I mean, I think it's better than Ram It Down. I think it's better than Turbo, for sure. Probably Redeemer of Souls, too. But Firepower, for me, by the way, you guys were talking about Firepower. I love that album. I really do. Trader's Gate, to me, is one of the best songs Priest has ever done. I mean, I love Trader's Gate. I think that's a great song.
Me too. Great song.
Yeah. So Crown of Horns, as George was talking about, doesn't really do it for me either. I think that the song that you guys liked, that I love, which had that 70s vibe, Hell Bent for Leather Stained Class, was Fight of Your Life. Very 70s vibe. I think that could have been on the album, not as an extra bonus track. Escape from Reality, I love that. I just like the Halford choruses, and choruses on here are great. I understand what you guys are talking about, the polished sound of the the sound of the whole album. But I just think that it's that's just the way it is. I mean, if you listen to some of the stuff from the 80s, I mean, especially Screaming for Vengeance was very polished, especially after it was remastered, and or Turbo, I guess if you want to say that. But Sons of Thunder, I know a lot of people don't like that one. I kind of like it. I know it's a tribute to bike riders, and it's a short song though. I'm glad
good
it's a
song.
quick,
That's a good one.
Yeah, quick, short song. Giants in the Sky too. I love that song.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I mean, the only song on this album I don't like is the last song, and I know George liked it, but as of now, I would give it like a 6. it's not catching with me yet. It's not hitting me. I don't know what it is. I'll probably have to listen to it a few more times. That happens with a lot of albums. I mean, the album came out last Friday, and I've been listening to it pretty much constantly. So for me, this Priest album gets an 8.5 for me, at least. You know, I mean, it could be a 9 on a 10 scale, but I would say 8.5, but it definitely wins over Bruce, you know. And I love Bruce. And Bruce sounds great on his album. I mean, he sounds great. His voice is, you know, I mean, for a guy, what's he, 65 now? So he sounds great. And, you know, the playing is great. Everything is great about the album, except for parts that are just like, I don't know, it's just too slow. I mean, I find it too slow in a lot of parts, and it's just like it's good for I'm working, I'm sitting at the desk.
Yeah,
That's the kind of album like what Nick was saying. With a Priest, if I'm going to go drive and do 80 miles an hour, I'm going to put Priest on, not Bruce. Bruce, I might fall asleep. So those are my albums, and that's my pick.
Bruce is in must-win situation now. 2 people left and down by 2. So Ryan, you're going to kind of start the narrative there, how it's going to go.
Let's see if we can turn it around, Jamie.
All right.
All right, so I'm going to start with Priest. I actually both of these albums, I bought them the day they came out, so I've been getting a good number of listens in, but still, you know, like you guys, fairly new, unless you're special like Nick and you got the promos. So I'll start with Priest here. So Priest is, I mean, I love Priest. They have some of my favorite albums ever. There are days when I say Unleashed in the East is the best classic heavy metal album of all time. A lot of days when I'm very comfortable saying that. It just blows everything away. But Priest have a lot of albums where there's a lot of good songs and there's a lot of filler. And I don't hold it against them. They're just that's just how they've always been to me. Even albums I love, like Screaming for Vengeance, like kind of skip Fever, you know. And I love that album overall. But once you go past that in later years, it gets worse and worse. So this album was no different. So there was a couple songs I loved and a bunch of songs that, you know, but I don't even really hold it against them because that's just kind of how I expected from them. The other thing that I'm not going to say it bothered me, but just a feeling I've had with these guys for a while. When you go from 1974 from Rock and Roll up to Painkiller, they cover a lot of it. Like they changed a lot. Those albums throughout the years, you know, they had that proggy 70s era. Obviously, the first album had that very 70s sound, and they pretty much invented the template of like classic heavy metal along with Sabbath. And then the 80s, you know, those albums are no, you know, what they are. And then Painkiller was something completely different. You know, Turbo almost had like the pop commercial sound. Once you go past Painkiller, to me, I think that album kind of broke them. I think whatever happened to them on that album, they liked it so much. They've been chasing that high ever since, to various ends. Like Jugulator to me was like Painkiller, but with like that 90s Machine Head Pantera sound. I like the album, but that's just kind of how they've always said. They've been in that Painkiller mood ever since. Firepower to me was one of the better examples of that. And this album is honestly probably the best they've done in that template since Painkiller. It's, I think, just the most successful take on it. But still, to me, it's like, okay, you guys are, you know, I don't expect them to go back to like a rock and roll or even like a point of entry sound. But, you know, it's, I don't want to say they're stuck in a rut, but, you know, it's become familiar. I agree with you guys on the production. Now, personally, I just don't like ultra shiny production in that modern sense. I agree with you, Rob, what you said. Like Screaming had like a very polished sound for the '80s, but it's a different polish. So if that makes sense, like I think Nick said, the drums on this are very like snappy and clicky and very like almost like a robotic. I don't know. It doesn't ruin it for me. And in fact, I'll tell you what improved this album. What improved this album to me a lot was. It's been really nice in New York the last couple of days. So yesterday I was driving around. It was beautiful out, absolutely gorgeous out. Had the windows down, and I put this album on loud, and it improved the whole thing like 80%. And it clicked to me like that's the ideal Priest listening environment. Like just blasting along down I mean, heading out to the fucking highway. But really, like I put it on. I was driving around, windows down, had the music cranked, and I'm like, everything just clicked a little bit more. It just felt more. It just felt better. Songs I was kind of iffy on, bumped up like 5-10 points. I tell you, the song I do like a lot is Crown of Horns because it reminds me of my favorite by far song of Firepower, which was Never the Heroes. Firepower I liked, but there was a lot of songs on that album which I'm just like, I don't know. I just don't go back to it a lot. The title track was great, but Never the Heroes. I fucking loved it. The chorus was great, and this song, that song gives me that kind of vibe. That slow paced, melodic. Halford just absolutely killing it. Like Nick said, the title track is an absolute ball buster. What a fucking song. When they started doing the advanced tracks on this, uh, I liked them all, but when I heard that a couple days before the album came out, I'm like, this is fucking amazing. This is, I think, the best song they've written probably since Something on Painkiller. Absolutely great. Uh, it does kind of have, I want to say, like a little bit of a popcorn feel to it. Like, I don't know, in a year from now, I don't know if I'm going to be going back to this a lot. I didn't go back to Firepower a lot like a year or two after it came out,
Me neither.
except for that one song, which I would throw on like, mix on my phone. But I forget which one of you said it, but repeating the choruses a lot too. A lot of but Bruce also on Maiden albums, he's definitely been guilty of that. So I don't want to rake them over the coals for something that Maiden also was guilty of. And AC/DC again, another, sing the chorus 8,000 times. I think we had a show once, Jamie, where you analyzed how many times Blaze sang the chorus on Angel and the Gambler. It was something like conservatively 47,000 times. Yeah, insane.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. I'm not going to put this as a negative against this album, but I feel like if I gave you this album, I took the band name away from it, so you don't know who it was, and I replaced Halford with another vocalist, a good vocalist, but another one, you'd be hard pressed to put it as a Priest album. Like, that's kind of the vibe I get. The songs are good, don't get me wrong, but I hear it and it doesn't automatically scream, this is Judas Priest. Now, I don't know with Glenn's ability to write anymore. I don't know how much Richie writes. I didn't really look into that. Some of the songs, like I'll get like The Serpent and the King, great song, uh, kicks ass, high power. I do feel like any number of like a dozen bands now could have written that song. Not to say it's a bad song, but it doesn't have that priestness to it. And I don't want to slag them for that because, for better or worse, a band like Maiden for basically decades now, Steve Harris is like, this is what Maiden's going to sound like, and he's never deviated. Even in the '90s, it's still, even their shittiest albums, they still sound like Maiden albums. Priest is, also for better or worse, taking a lot of chances. Right? We're going to do Turbo. We're going to do Jugulator. They mixed it up more. So I don't want to say they lost their identity a little bit because they brought in a lot of that outside stuff. But, to me, that's kind of like where this ends. So I like this album a lot. I don't know where I'll come back to it in a year or two. But driving around in a car at high speed within the law, windows down in nice weather made a huge difference, which I would expect because they're that kind of band,
It's that kind of album.
Yeah, it's that kind of album. All their albums to me, like going back to, Sad Wings of Destiny, it's just, there's that band, it's summer driving, nice weather, car music. All right, Bruce, much like my friend Nicholas here, I usually would say Iron Maiden's my favorite band. And so I'm 41. So when I was getting into metal, in the '90s, the newest album that came out that I got when I was pretty young was Chemical Wedding. And that made a massive impression on me. And to this day, I'd say it's probably like one of my top 20 albums of all time. Roy Z's guitar tone on that could like knock down concrete walls. It is just disgustingly heavy. I love the subject matter. The themes he picks on that album. And I don't really like, going back in hindsight years later, the first three he did, like Skunk Works, Tattooed Millionaire, where he was like more rock and roll. It just never clicked with me. It just wasn't my thing. Wasn't what I wanted from Bruce. So the first time I heard this album, and I get to songs like Rain on the Graves, which have much more like a rock and roll feel, I didn't really like it. I think I actually told Nick, I heard the first one or two times I heard this, I'm like, I'm not feeling this album at all. It just didn't click. But this Bruce is my boy, so I gave it a lot of listens. I was sitting down with it, and my opinions on it has improved 1,000-fold. It's dark, it's moody, it's somber. I didn't actually know the story about when they recorded it, so I just assumed that he wanted to do a different take on Eternity Has Failed, which is, it's different enough where, like Rob said, it is the same song, but yeah, it's got enough changes where it doesn't bother me. And it's only one tune, too. And it's really what I'll give him credit for. It's the only song on this album that sounds Maiden-y. Bruce has always been good about, he doesn't put Maiden songs on his solo albums, even the more metal ones like Chemical Wedding or Tyranny of Souls. He sounds the same. His style's pretty much the same, but the music is always, even the ones with Adrian Smith, they don't sound like Maiden albums at all. And the same holds true here. Just nothing other than that one song, nothing on here sounds like it would fit on an Iron Maiden album. And I'm going to give him a lot of credit for that.
I would probably listen to that before I go back to Senjutsu.
Well, I love that one too. But I mean, that doesn't sound, I mean, if this was recorded in 2012, that's a difference. But yeah, nothing on this album sounds like it would be on Senjutsu. I agree with all you guys. It starts off great. It does kind of peter off at the end. The last song, not so great. I love that he takes some really adventurous musical chances. I forget the song, but there's one song on here that like, incorporates like a lot of Egyptian scales.
Mhm.
Oh
And
yeah,
I heard that. I'm like, that's fucking cool. The way he incorporated it sounded good.
fingers in the
Uh,
wounds. Yeah, that's the one I
yeah,
like. Yeah,
it
I
was
like
it
that
was
part.
I like the production on this. I've always liked how Roy Z's worked with Bruce. I like the production on the new Iron Maiden albums. I mean, I know a lot of people bitch about Kevin Shirley, but it just sounds, you know what? It sounds like the band in the room playing. It just sounds honest. There's not a lot of embellishments over it. I just like that. The Steve's bass kind of sounds just there. It doesn't have whereas this album has a lot more, I want to say, processing to it, and it doesn't ruin it because, like some of you guys said, there are legacy bands with newer albums that are very processed. Like I'm gonna say, Creator. That's one for me. It just ruins it. I can't listen to it. It's way too sterile, way too clean. It's like it's been spit polished, all the grimes taken off. That doesn't sound metal to me. I'm much more acceptable with a band like Priest that's always kind of had that big arena sound. Would I like a little bit of a dirtier sound? Do I like yes. Do I like Andy Sneap a lot as a producer? Not really, but whatever. But I'm gonna go with Roy Z as the producer of choice between these two, and I am gonna go with Bruce as my album of choice too. Uh, my first listens did kind of, I was expecting something a little more in your face just because I love Tyranny of Souls. I love Accident at Birth. I love Chemical Wedding. That's my favorite, like, trifecta of his albums. This didn't give me that feeling at first. But, you got to be like, you know what? That was a long time ago. These are different, a lot of time has passed. Let's see what he has for us today. And based on that, I really warmed up to this album.
19
Resurrection Men,
years.
like, what's that?
19 years between
Yeah.
albums.
Although if it was recorded in
Well,
20, that
yeah,
throws my
I
whole mental
forget. Yeah.
calculus out of fucking
I have
whack
to
here.
get that through my head. I really didn't know
I gotta
that, so,
ram that
yeah.
through my skull here. But yeah, I'm not gonna go through individual songs as much, but uh I put this on headphones a couple times, just relaxing, and it flows nicely. It's not high intensity music, but Bruce is older now, so I'm fine with that. His voice, it doesn't sound like there's a lot of processing on it. It sounds like I don't want to compare it to like the last couple Ozzy albums where it's like a fucking Ozzy robot. Like that's not really how he sounds anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
Which actually was one thing I thought of thinking of this is that it reminded me almost of how Rick Rubin treated Johnny Cash in his later years. When Cash's voice was kind of faltering, he was getting a lot older. Rick didn't cover it up. He's like, here's how he sounds. This is his singing. This is what it is.
Right.
And I thought that was a fucking great choice. I love those albums he did. And I'm glad that Bruce is not making the decision to like really like auto tune and process the shit out of his vocals.
But if that was recorded in 2012,
yeah, if it was recorded in 2012, he was younger than me
yeah,
now.
That's fucking with my brain now. But he still sounds older. Like you could tell, it still sounds older on this. He doesn't hit, he's not like singing on like Number of the Beast anymore, like nailing those insane screams.
Right.
He's a lot older. I wouldn't want him to.
To that point, I think somebody before mentioned about Bruce not staying maybe where he should as much. Somebody said it. I thought that on Resurrection Men on the verses, he's really challenging himself with staying at that up here. And the chorus of Resurrection Men sounds a lot more robust, but he's reaching a little bit with the verse, and it shows.
Yeah, and Bruce, I mean, if you guys know, you've seen him live a million times. I mean, when he's live, the guy's unbelievable. He's
unbelievable
around the stage like a maniac, and he's singing. I mean,
he's still does too.
He's the greatest frontman on planet Earth.
I mean, he's amazing, and I love Halford, but I think he's a better showman that way. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I would also say I didn't think of it too much because it's depressing for me to think of, so I kind of blocked it out. But with 2012, the timeline, I don't recall exactly where that fits in with Bruce having his cancer scare or his cancer issues.
Yeah.
I feel like 4 years before.
4 years before.
Yeah. Okay. So
4 or 5 years.
Kind of relevant, but still, the fact remains. I like the fact that he doesn't, even on Senjutsu, he doesn't garnish his vocals up. It's very plain Jane. This is who I am. This is how I sound these days. If he's hitting stuff he shouldn't hit and he's struggling, that, good. I mean, he's challenging himself, and no one sounds how they sound in their 60s like they do in their 20s. So
I do feel like some of the vocals on this album were recorded recently. I just feel that.
I thought so too.
It does sound that way. Like he sounds like he sounded on Senjutsu.
They might have done some retakes,
but
in the studio.
As to like Halford taking a lot of takes on this one, I mean, I still see people bagging on Unleashed in the East for and I don't give a fuck because that album just demolishes the entire world of heavy metal. So
Right on.
that doesn't really bother me. He sounds great,
You think
And
it's better than Live After Death?
this one,
No, would you say Unleash in the East?
yeah, I did say that. Yeah,
You think it's better than Live After Death?
it's my favorite live album. I think there are a lot of days when I say it's the best heavy metal album ever made.
Ryan,
Nice.
I gotta,
Interesting.
I did a podcast episode of the heaviest albums of the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And going through everything, comparing studio and live, that album is the heaviest album of the 1970s by a long shot.
I agree with that.
Unleashed in these, there was nothing that came close, right?
No, just when you open it, when it opens with Exciter, like the way it kicks in, like
Yeah.
it was like a whole new thing. It was a whole new world, really.
I mean,
which is another thing I love
Halpert was
about
on
it.
the top of his game then too.
Yeah, always sounded.
I
great.
mean, all the heaviest Priest songs made heavier. I mean, it was heavier than Motorhead Overkill or Bomber or anything else that any studio album, heavier than Rainbow Rising, heavier than any Priest studio album, of course.
Oh, having Les Binks on that too made it. Yeah, it's perfect. Set
Just
list.
want to mention one other really weird thing here, just quickly. I wish I made a note of where this was. I don't know if anybody noticed this, but there's about a line of lyrics of vocal on the Priest album somewhere deep in the album that sounded exactly like Ozzy, and I'm going,
Yes, Escape from Reality.
Oh, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Yes, it sounds like Ozzy. I think it's a tribute to Ozzy. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
They put
it
Halpert's
sounded like almost they snuck him in on the album as an Easter egg or something. It was bizarre. Like there's one line really stuck out and go, man, that sounds like Ozzy. That's cool. Yeah. Thanks for that, Rob. Yeah. I'm gonna go listen to that again.
I thought he was no, never mind. I was gonna see if he was a guest on it. So there is something else about this album which is kind of cool, which no one's mentioned, and I'm happy because I get to mention it now. This is the first time in the history of heavy metal ever that a heavy metal band, not a hard rock band, not like a Led Zeppelin or a Deep Purple, but a straight up balls out heavy fucking metal band has recorded an album 50 years apart between Rock and Roll and this. First time it's ever happened.
I read
Sabbath
that.
could have done it, but Sabbath broke up years ago. So
yeah,
Priest gets that nod, which is fucking cool. That's just cool. They've been around long enough to do that and put albums out exactly 50 years apart. I don't know the date Rock and Roll came out in 74, but as far as the years go, yeah.
That record's going to be there for a while, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't know who else could. I mean, you got years to go before Maiden could be in that group.
Uriah Heep, if
2029 Maiden would have.
Yeah,
if they count, maybe.
I guess if you want to put Heap in there, they could. Well, they've already surpassed that then because they're going back.
Are they a balls out metal band though?
Nah, not like Priest is.
Yeah.
They got some heavy fucking songs, but they don't have a song like Exciter or like, The Sentinel or Painkiller.
Maiden would have to make an album in 2029.
Okay.
Which hopefully happens.
Yeah, better. I hope so. And Steve will do it just to compete with them, like because they always had that little competition.
So yeah, these are the first guys to do it, and like you guys said, who's the next band that would be eligible to?
Yeah,
to do
maybe
that?
Maiden.
Maybe Maiden, but
Maybe
you're going a couple of years. Motorhead can't do it, so Rainbow ain't gonna do it. So yeah, I thought that was cool. My vote is still for Bruce, but I thought that was a very cool note because it puts this album in a unique position that no one else is going to, like you said, occupy for a while. So
actually, what about the Scorpions? I didn't think about that. They've been.
That's what I was.
More of a rock band.
But are they hard rock or are they metal?
Yeah, both. But balls out though, like they don't have a song like Painkiller. Like we're just kind of.
I was also gonna.
Yeah, now we're splitting hairs.
Sax.
Yeah, we're getting.
And we don't have any hair to split.
No hair to split.
This is the most bald panel I've ever seen in my life.
But Priest were probably the first, so I'm gonna
still have some hair.
All right, so we got suspense.
Yeah,
it's 3-4, and it's up to me to either tie it or have Priest win. So that's pretty cool. I'm wearing a Maiden shirt. I feel like fans of metal are fans of both bands. But you always lean towards one a little bit more. We all don't have tattoos of both bands on our arms. Normally we lean towards one way. And I lean towards Maiden. But I don't want to seem too biased. I mean, for Christ's sakes, I dressed up like Rob Halford for Halloween one year. I think I got a picture here, if you can see. That's me as Halford. Me as Halford.
Oh my God.
It's hard to see. I know. But
That's so cool.
I got my wife next to me. She was my groupie. I'm like, you're ruining my costume being a chick. Is there a dude who can hang around me here? Go away. And I actually still have, that was 2006. I still have my Rob Halford jacket I made.
Oh.
It was I found it at the Halloween store. It was meant to be a Matrix jacket to be Neo, and I bought it and turned it into Rob Halford. So to even things out, I'll put this on over my maiden. I haven't worn this since 2006. Rob, you could pull off Halford too, couldn't you?
Are those fringes that I see on there?
Yeah, oh yes. I got the fringes. Yeah. I got tinfoil on there. I got the JP in the back. Yeah. So I even put the tattoo on my head with makeup, the little lightning bolt and whatever he had. So now I got both represented.
Jamie, turn around and crouch over and give us a Rob Halford vocal. You almost look like Rob there for a second. There we go.
I was thinking of going up to the store to get some sunglasses just for a minute.
But I that high note and victim of changes. You can do that.
Rob, you never dressed up as Rob Halford?
What's up?
You never dressed up as Rob Halford for Halloween or anything?
No, not me. No,
you could pull it off.
I did dress up as a priest.
Oh, geez. You know what we could do? If we both dressed up as Rob Halford, went in front of Rob Halford, and made out with one another, his head would explode. Both heads would explode. He'd see himself kissing himself. He wouldn't know what to do.
You get weirder and weirder, you know?
Going down an interesting path.
All right. Anyway, we'll edit that out. Judas Priest. This album is a good album. I like this album. The thing is, Andy Sneap, all the albums he produces, a lot of them do give me ear fatigue. It normally starts to happen around track 5 or 6 every damn time. It always comes on like, man, this is going to be great. And then I got that, and then I start getting that fatigue. It's not as bad on this album. You know, it's almost like the Tom Schultz of metal, of how precise and perfect he wants to be. They're playing great. The songs are written really well. I even like the ballad on here. What's that called again? Crown of Thorns or Crown of Horns. What's it called?
Crown of Horns.
Oh, Horns. Yeah. I didn't like that one. The thing is, there's no surprises on this album. When I listen to it for the first 30 to 90 seconds of each song, I know exactly what I'm going to get for the rest of the 5 minutes. I just know. And it feels a little bit like Judas Priest on Cruise Control. They're giving the fans what they want, and they're delivering. It's not so much they're following their muse as much as they're saying, let's just give them, we don't know how many albums we got left in us, so let's just give them what they want. But it does sound like they're on autopilot a little bit sometimes, to me. You remember in Airplane when they hit the autopilot and the big inflatable autopilot guy comes up? It sounds a little bit like in the recording of this album, they wanted to go out for drinks. They hit the Judas Priest autopilot, and a bunch of inflatable band members came up, and they're like, they're good for at least 3 songs. Let's go grab a drink. And they just did Judas Priest sounding songs.
I work in aviation. That's actually, that autopilot's accurate. That's factually accurate.
Surely you can't be serious.
Don't call me
Shirley.
No, that's how autopilot really works. Anyways.
You know what? When I was a kid, I thought a real autopilot guy did pop up when I was 10 years old. And I saw
You're not wrong.
So yes, it's good. It's a love letter to the fans, and that's not a bad thing. The Bruce, however, is not a love letter to the fans. It's a labor of love, I believe, which is different. It does have some dips, you know. I get what you guys were saying. Face in the Mirror and the ballads towards the end. It's not, you know, it's got blemishes, but it's a journey. You know, when I listen to it, when a song starts, I'm like, oh yeah, this is a good one. And then something cool happens. I go, oh, I forgot that was in this song. Awesome. It doesn't happen here. Verse, chorus, guitar solo. Here we go. Except for the last song that has that cool little Spanish guitar type thing in it, acoustic guitar solo. That's cool. I wish there was more of that in the Judas Priest. So you can see where I'm headed here. I love Fingers in the Wounds. I think it's the best thing Bruce Dickinson has sung on or released since, including Maiden, including his solo albums. I'm going to say since this album, maybe A Different World or For the Greater Good of God, best thing he's done since those two songs in my mind. I love it. It's been stuck in my head all day. Eternity Has Failed. I like this version a lot more. I like the choir backing vocals towards the end, which is not on the original. It kind of reminds me of Wicker Man. The original on the album doesn't have that "Thy shall be done." That was on like the video version. And when I listened to the one without the "Thy shall be," I want that in there. So now I was listening to the original today. I was like, I want that choir in the back now that I know that it could be there. So I like this version better. Here's an interesting fact, though. On this, it's called If Eternity Should Fail. On here, it is called Eternity Has Failed. Two different names, same song. But hold on. Bruce Dickinson, Chemical Wedding, has The Alchemist. The Final Frontier has The Alchemist. Same name, two different songs. Weird, man. So anyways, I digress.
It's a conspiracy.
It is. I know. I don't mind the ballads at the end because it's kind of like, I just don't mind them because I kind of like the songs. I get that the sonata doesn't really go for 9 minutes. It should go places that it doesn't go, but that's okay. And Facing the Mirror, here's the thing, it's barely 4 minutes. And if you focus on Bruce's backing vocals during the song, he's changing it up just enough to not make it too repetitive and too irritating, if you focus on that. But I get what people say. But man, Fingers in the Wounds, I don't get anything off this album that gets me going like that album. So I'm going with The Labor of Love because the peaks, even though it has some valleys, the peaks are much, much higher than anything on Invincible Shield. So there you go. We got a tie ball game.
Oh,
wow.
But I will say, where did I put my controller? I do have a Facebook group called Let's Get Physical, which is dedicated to everything physical media, books, comic books, albums, whatever. So find me on Facebook, Let's Get Physical, and send me an invite, and I'll accept you. I accept anyone. Just don't come on and be a
He's
dick,
not picky.
and I'm booting you out. I haven't booted anyone out yet. Everyone's pretty cool there. I will say that I put a voting thing on, and it was 81% Priest, 19% Dickinson. So if you want to count that, I guess as a tiebreaker, that would be the KO right there over Bruce's face.
I hate
so
that I
if you want to
contributed to
count that, Priest wins. If you don't, then it's a tie ball game.
Yeah, like I said, I was really enjoying some of those songs, and then Bruce just is like, oh, I just too much.
There's a song. What song is it? Hold on.
Rain in the Graves. Is that for me? That's
it starts off, man. People call him the Siren. I have never heard him sound more siren-like than the
they could
beginning
just
of
roll
that
him
song.
back a little
It's
and
like,
put him in the
whoa.
background. I would love this record. If he could just not, he's like so upfront. Of course, it's a solo album, and
Right.
I'm not taking like his ability away from him. It's just the sound just is not right for me, you know what I mean? But I have to say, the choruses are super catchy. I wish that they rolled back the keyboards a little bit. Sometimes I thought they were unnecessary, but I do like the percussion and the piano. You know what I mean? So I'm going with that one. Bruce. Yep. Believe it or not, I can't believe I'm saying that.
That's cool. I didn't think do you think it's better than any Iron Maiden album since, I don't know, Power Slave?
I'm going to say yeah, because I don't listen to Maiden anymore. I just don't they're kind of, rote. You know what I mean? Like, it's nothing interesting for me to pull me in to actually spend time and listen to them. So I enjoyed that more than any Iron Maiden that I've heard in a long time.
I would say Brave New World is my favorite Iron Maiden from that era when they made that comeback.
Yeah.
After that,
I agree.
I could take or leave I mean, listen, I buy all the stuff and I listen to all the stuff. I'm not saying I hate them. I'm just saying if you gave me a choice, I would say Brave New World is my favorite out of everything from then on.
I feel the same way. I like all the new ones except Final Frontier, which is kind of
Yeah, I can't stand Final Frontier.
Final Frontier is hard to get through.
Where the Wild Wind Blows is great, but the rest of the
that song's really good. Yeah.
My favorite.
Do we
Maiden,
have any Book of Souls people here? Because I love
I like it a lot.
Okay.
I like that album.
It's good.
Yeah.
And I went to the tour for A Matter of Life and Death, and they did that whole album.
I like that a lot.
A lot of people didn't know that going in and got pissed. I loved it, and
I
it's
loved it
just
too.
awesome.
If
There's
you're
no
not prepared,
live album from that tour. There's no DVD. There's just our memory from that tour.
They said they were going to do it. Like,
there.
it wasn't a surprise, But
yeah,
you didn't read
I
nothing.
think it was good. I think
I loved it.
Matter of Life and Death is my favorite Bruce Return album. It's to me it's
I like that
my
album.
second favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My brain
Book
sucks.
of
Which
Souls
album
back.
had Passchendaele on it?
Oh, that was a
Dance
Dance
of
of Death.
Death.
That song fucking
Passchendaele.
ass.
So I always traditionally say I think Matter of Life and Death was my favorite album since he came back. Passchendaele might be their best moment since he came back.
It's top 3. It's a fantastic fucking song.
And I love Empire of the Clouds off of Book of Souls.
That's
I think
good.
that was an
Actually
absolute
Dance of Death
success.
is great too, even though the artwork sucks.
That is great.
For what?
Dance
I
of
think
Death.
my
the
favorite
artwork.
song is Benjamin
Oh.
Brigg.
That's a great one too.
Really?
Yeah. It sounds very like Samson crossed with Maiden, new wave of British heavy metal. It's just vital, right?
Which song?
The reincarnation of Benjamin Brigg.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah, that was
excellent.
I remember
was a
being
big
disappointed
single.
when that first came out as the lead single. I mean, it's grown on me.
Yeah, that album wasn't very immediate. It took a while, but now I love it.
I love the song. What the hell's the name of it now? I can't think of it. The one about World War II.
Which one?
Yeah.
Aces High?
Aces
Box
High.
Figure?
No, that album. Not of Life and Death.
I gotcha. It's it is These Colors Don't Run. Oh, no.
These Colors
The
Don't
Longest
Run?
Day. The Longest Day.
That's a good one.
Day.
Yeah.
Oh, the
I love
longest
that
day.
song. And These Colors Don't Run is good too. I love that song.
I think the Pilgrim, the unsung, the Pilgrim is one of the most
it's a great
upbeat
album.
songs he's written.
Those albums are full of great deep cuts.
Yeah.
For the most part, except for Final Frontier.
And there was a cool T-shirt at that tour for These Colors Don't Run. It kind of looked like the Trooper.
I have it.
Damn it.
I got that same shirt too. We got like the same Maiden shirts. Some of that.
Oh yeah.
All right. See, a bunch of Maiden fans get it together, and Jesus,
shooting the breeze.
wish we could all go out for drinks, but we can't. We got to end things. And I'm getting warm in this fucking jacket. So everyone, make sure you visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're all together all the damn time. And click on that subscribe button down below if you haven't yet. And hit the notification bell so you get notified for all the content that we put on here. And hit the like button. I even forget to hit the goddamn like button all the time. I'll forget it. I'll forget to hit it on this, but you don't forget. You hit the damn like button. And we have a Ko-fi link down there if you want to contribute some money, because I used my own ink. So come on, I need some money. And there's a merch page down there, and there's that Cameo page. Click on Cameo, and Pete will send you a message. Cameo. It's like OnlyFans, but without the boobs. it's clean PG OnlyFans.
Never heard it described that way. Huh.
Yeah. So click on that, and Pete will send you a happy birthday message or whatever. Until next time, when we have a brand new crew with brand new releases, we'll see you then. So take care, everybody.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Everyone. Bye.
See you later.